What is up, people? We made it. Today's the day, and you guys better be scared for the haunted house. It's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared. There might be clowns. Oh, I heard there's clowns. I don't know. They told me there's clowns, so you know, we'll see. We'll see. But people, we made it. It is Friday, which is pretty cool. Kyle says he's a different breed. He's not gonna be scared. He's not gonna be scared today. But yes, today we are most definitely going into the long-awaited haunted house, but I think we're gonna do it after the lesson. The lesson's not gonna be that long, right? Because I don't know if we're gonna be able to transition from the haunted house to the ADS model. It's gonna be kind of tough, but so we'll do that. It's kind of messed up here. We'll do that afterwards, right? So you guys are gonna have to give me like, you know, 10-15 minutes of focus, and then yeah, we'll navigate the haunted house. You betcha. You betcha. All right. Some other big announcements. No, people. When we go in the haunted house, it's volume full blast. All right? No exceptions. But anyway, some announcements, right? Remember, your Unit 2 test has been posted as of Wednesday, and you have until Sunday to complete it, people. All right? And again, do not bank on a retake. All right? Do not bank on a retake. All right? Don't go fast and be like, oh, if I do bad, I got a second chance later. All right? Don't do that. All right? Try your best, and we'll see how you do. All right? If everyone gets, everyone gets an A, and there's like one kid with an E, we're moving on. All right? No retakes. We're moving on. Okay? Anyway, I posted the 3.3 key, and all these ADS model problem sets are very, very, very important. Right? Very, very important that you guys look at your problem sets, right, and correct your answers. And if you don't understand, why you got something wrong, right, you need to get clarification with me and Google Meet, right? Stay in the Google Meet if you're confused about anything, okay? And then 3.4 is due tonight, and then today you guys will get 3.5, which 3.5 should be pretty easy. And I put one little FRQ on there, all right? And I'll show you guys how to do that when we get there, but basically, what we're going to do, to start off here is we're going to review a little bit of long-run adjustments. I know we had a lot of people absent yesterday, and it's definitely not going to hurt to see it done a second time. I'm not going to go as slow as I did yesterday. Some of you guys know it, obviously, but that's what we're going to do mostly today. And then at the end, we're going to talk about a concept called economic growth, which we've talked about already to this point. We just haven't shown that on the ADS model. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. And then people, on Monday, we're going to be starting off with the Phillips curve. We're going to be jump right into the Phillips curve, new graph. So it's very, very important that you're feeling really good about the ADS model at the close of business today. All right, people. Afterwards. Whoa. My green screen's all messed up. There we go. Oh yeah, we're going in there afterwards, people. It's gonna be so scary. I heard there's 4 different rooms. We're gonna have to navigate. And it's kind of like escape rooms. Like, I'm gonna need your guys' help to get out of the room. All right, it's gonna be really hard. So, yeah. Anyways, cut the music, please. Cut the music. All right, let's get to what we got to take care of today. All right, so yesterday, right, I introduced long run aggregate supply, and that is the new curve that we're gonna put on our ADS model. It's the last curve we're gonna put on our ADS model, because we're gonna have to differentiate between short run aggregate supply and long run aggregate supply. Right? And it's the concept of long run versus short run in macroeconomics, right? Short run is this idea that there's not enough time to go by where wages can ultimately adjust, right? Wages are sticky, they're fixed in the short run. Nominal wages can never change in the short run. People can't renegotiate new contracts in the short run. So we have to have a different supply curve, because when we look at short run aggregate supply, right? It's this idea that if prices go up, right, in this case price doubles, my revenue is therefore going to double, but my labor costs are going to stay the same, right? So in the short run, our aggregate supply curve slopes upwards, because as price increases, there's an incentive for producers to produce more output, because as price goes up, right, your labor costs stay the same. You get to pay all your employees the same amount, right, but your profit margins are going to begin to widen. Right, so that's why when price level goes up in the short run, firms produce more output, and in the short run, when price level goes down, firms produce less output. That's the idea. In the long run, that's enough time that can go by where wages can ultimately adjust. Right, people's contracts can expire, and they can renegotiate new wages based on what happened to price level, based on what happened to inflation. Oh, the attendance in the chat is going to be the haunted house, people. Don't you worry about that. Oh yeah. I'm going to need your help big time on that. You're going to have to be participating with that, but we're gonna fly through this a little bit, all right? Yeah, long run is this idea that enough time's gonna go by where wages can ultimately adjust. So if we do the same thing here, right? Price level doubles, but what happens in the long run? Well, eventually, right, you're gonna have to double the pay for your workers, because in the long run, if price level doubles, we're gonna assume that the workers are gonna get those higher wages, right? Because if price level doubles, think about the value of the good that they're producing has now doubled. So when they go back to the negotiating table with their boss, they're gonna be like, hey, look, right? I'm bringing in $200 in revenue for you now, opposed to $100 in revenue. I doubled the value of what we're producing here. I want double the pay, and also I need double the pay because price level has increased, twofold all around me. So my real wages have fallen, right? So I need an increase in my wage, and we're going to assume in the long run employees will get that wage increase. Okay, so in this case, right, again, price level doubles, so our total revenue goes from $100 to $200, but our labor costs have to double as well. So in this case, our profit goes from 20 to 40, but that's just nominal profit. If we adjust this profit for inflation, right, our real profit would still be $20, because when we take this $40 in profit and go buy resources, the resources are now twice as expensive, right? So in the long run, there's no incentive to produce more output. In the long run, we're going to produce an output level that is consistent with that trend line on the business cycle, that full employment line on the production possibility curve. Basically, it's how much we're going to produce at if we have 5% unemployment. That's our long run aggregate supply. It is independent from price level. We are going to produce this much output, this much GDP, if we have 5% unemployment, right? The natural rate of unemployment, right? Full employment, because we understand that full employment means we're employing all of our workers, because we understand that 5% are going to be unemployed due to frictional and structural reasons. And if we have full employment and only are operating at 5% unemployment, we're going to be operating at this much GDP. Unless, right, we get more capital goods or technology or education and things like that, and then LRAS can move. And we'll talk about that later today. But that's the idea, right? This LRAS curve is this curve right here. How much goods can we produce if we have 5% unemployment, aka full employment? We know our business cycle, sometimes we can go in an inflationary gap and recessionary gap, but the trend line, in aggregate, right, like over time, we're generally operating at 5% unemployment. So this is how much output we can produce, in a given time period if we have 5% unemployment. That's the idea, okay? So at this point, I really hope you guys could draw the different states of the economy, right? There's 3 different states of the economy, right? There's a recessionary gap, there's an inflationary gap, and there's full employment. But all 3 of these have a lot of different ways to describe it, and you're going to see that when we start knocking out a lot more FRQs as we go through Unit 3, right? A recessionary gap simply means that we're not producing where we ought to be producing. So a good way to describe a recessionary gap is our actual GDP, and our actual GDP is always where AS and AD intersect, right? That's our short-run equilibrium. Wherever our current output is, our current supply and our current willingness to buy, right, equals one another, that's going to be where we're currently operating at, right? Like output right now, price level right now, right? So right now, our actual GDP is less than our potential GDP. If it says that, you have to know to draw a recessionary gap, and this is how you draw a recessionary gap, right? I just draw ADAS, label everything, and then I make LRAS to the right of it, because this is our potential GDP, and we're not there. Another way to describe a recessionary gap is called a negative output gap. There's been FRQs in years past where they said, draw a negative output gap, and students are expected to draw this, a recessionary gap. Another way to have you draw this without telling you it's a recessionary gap, they could give you the unemployment levels. They could say the net rate of unemployment is 5% and current unemployment is 7%, right? If unemployment is higher than the NRU, right, we're probably not producing our close to our potential GDP. Our actual GDP has to be less if our unemployment level is greater than the net rate of unemployment, right? So they like to give you a bunch of different ways to expect you to draw the graph, right? And generally, we're going to get your first ADS model FRQ today. That's the first part of the FRQ. It's like, here's the current state of the economy. Question 1, draw the graph, label, the details, blah, 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 right? And you have to know how to start off the graph. A lot of students assume that every graph looks like this from the start, and that's just not the case. Now, most of the problem sets look like this because on most of the problem sets I ask you about long run. And to give you an AD shifter, a short run change, and the long run change, I have to start you in long run generally. Not all the time, not today, but generally, right? But that's not always how you draw it. An inflationary gap, again, is when we're currently producing more than what we ought to be producing. Our actual GDP is greater than our potential GDP. Our actual unemployment rate is less than the net rate of unemployment. This is also called a positive output gap, all right? And you'd have to know to draw the economy looking like that. And then full employment means our actual unemployment rate is equal to net rate of unemployment. Our actual GDP is equal to potential GDP. We're where we want to be, right? AD and AS intersect at LRAS. This is also called long run equilibrium, right? Long run equilibrium, or operating at full employment, right? It might say that as well. All right, so just going forward, all right, I hope you guys can draw the state of the economy looking like this. And when we're at long run equilibrium, I generally label that YFE. Y means output, E means like equilibrium, like currently. We're currently producing at full employment, YFE. Here, right, we're obviously in a gap, right, because YE is not equal to YF. Okay, just a little review, right? Some of you guys were gone yesterday. So again, what happens in the long run? So generally, this is how the curriculum is set up, right? Generally, if they ask you about long run questions, what they like to do is they start you at long run equilibrium, right? And they give you an aggregate demand shifter. Consumer spending increases, and then you increase AD. If the question just says, if consumer spending increases, what happens in the short run? You do what we did before, right? You just analyze what happens from point A to point B, right? Price level goes up and output goes up. And since output goes up, unemployment goes down. And since unemployment goes down, incomes must be going up. Real wages have fallen because no one got a pay raise because we're talking short run, but price level has increased, right? All those different things, right? And I'm going to continue to keep you guys practicing and on short run changes and analyzing your graph on a short run change. Right, but really, I'm really focused on long run right now. Right, I'm hoping you guys already know how to do that. If the question says this instead, it says if consumer spending increases, what will happen in the long run? Well, what you want to do is you want to do that short run change, but you need to make the long run automatic adjustment, right? We don't care what happens from A to B. We want to know what happens from A to C. What's eventually going to happen in our economy in the long run if consumer spending increases, right? Well, in the long run, you always change aggregate supply, right? You always change aggregate supply. And the reason is what we've talked about, the difference between short and long run. It's this idea that wages can adjust in the long run and they don't adjust in the short run. In the long run, we're going to assume that wages will adjust. So how do you know what to do to aggregate supply? You look at what happens to price level and you ask yourself, if you were living in this economy, what would you do in terms of, would you ask for a wage increase or would you ask for a wage decrease? I know it sounds silly, but I'll show you that here in a second, right? In this case, we're going to ask for a wage increase. And the reason is price level has increased. Again, if you're working, you're producing more stuff of value, but you're still getting paid the same amount. And also, right, when you go to buy goods in this economy, everything's more expensive. Your real wages have fallen from point A to point B. You're going to demand higher wages. And when you demand higher wages, right, for the employer, that's an increase in the cost of production. An increase in the cost of production, an employer's got to pay more labor costs, that's always going to decrease aggregate supply. And that's what takes you back to long run aggregate supply. That's what takes you back to long run equilibrium, is this decrease in aggregate supply. Okay? Aggregate supply is always what takes you back, but you can't say that as your explanation. You can say, oh, AS always takes us back, right? And just always memorize that, like, the only way to get here is a decrease in AS. You have to explain that in the long run, wages will adjust, and in this case, wages go up, right? Which is going to be an increase in the cost of production, thus decrease in aggregate supply. So in the long run, from point A to point C, right, nothing changes. The only thing that changed was an increase in price level. You're still going to be producing the same amount of real GDP output. The unemployment level will still be the same, right? The only thing that really happened is we have inflation, but nominal wages increase. So real wages are constant. They have not changed, right? And again, you can see it on the business cycle, right? There's times where we go in an inflationary gap, but eventually we always come back, right? That's the idea. And then again, I'll do this one real quick, right? Start at long run. There's a decrease in AD. If price level goes down, what's going to happen in this economy, right? There's high unemployment, right? What's going on? There's high unemployment. The good that you're producing now is less valuable because prices have gone down, but the cost of living has also decreased. So when you go to the negotiating table in the long run, what are you going to do? Well, in order to keep your job, you're going to be willing to take a pay cut, right? You're going to be willing to take a pay cut. You don't want a pay cut. No one wants a pay cut. But you're going to be willing to take a pay cut because there's massive unemployment going on, and you want to keep your job or get the job. And you can afford to do so because price level has decreased in our economy. And you know, when you go to negotiate, right, the value of what you're producing isn't as valuable as it once was, right? Like you as a worker aren't as valuable anymore, right? So you're going to get less wages. And when workers get less wages, that's a decrease in the cost of production. So how do we adjust the long run? Aggregate supply increases. That's how, right? Workers take pay cuts. That's gonna be a decrease in the cost of production. Now producers can buy more resources, thus they can produce more, and that's how we get back to long run. So that the long run change from A to C, the only thing that's really going to change is price level. All right, people. Let's do like one or two examples here. All right, and then we'll save two other examples maybe for Monday, because I want to go in the haunted house. It's gonna be sweet. All right. Anyway, all right. So here we go. Let's do a little change here. A little short run and a long run change. This is what your problem set's going to look like a little bit, and I think it kind of looked like this yesterday as well. It says, assume the economy is operating at long-run equilibrium, right? So the first part of the question is the state of the economy, and here we're at long-run equilibrium. I drew it already at long-run equilibrium. What would happen to the following in the short run if there's an increase in income taxes? Let's do short run first, obviously, right? If the question just said short run, right, we're expected to know all these different macro measures. Okay, so we're going to do that first, and then we're going to pretend the question just says long run. We're going to see how it's so different. All right, so if there's an increase in income taxes, right, aggregate demand is going to have to fall. It's so important that you know what changes the ADS model. Is it AD or AS? In this case, it's aggregate demand. We're talking about changing people's incomes. We're not taxing businesses or anything like that. It's going to affect people's willingness and ability to buy. So people are going to buy less things. They're going to be willing to buy less things because now, if income taxes go up, they're paying more in taxes. They're going to have less disposable income, right? That's your explanation as to why AD has decreased. So you just label your graph, right? And you're going to notice that price level goes down, output goes down, right? So we can just begin to start looking at those measures. Price level goes down, output goes down. And then some measures are all about relationships, right? We know that if output goes down, we're producing less stuff, we must be using less workers. So the amount of people that are looking for a job would have to increase because we're not employing them right now if we're producing less stuff. If unemployment goes up and we add up everyone's paychecks added together, there's going to be less national incomes, right? Incomes will have to fall if unemployment goes up, right? There's less pay in total being given on this economy. And then what happens to nominal wages? Nominal wages do not change, right? Because we're talking short run, and that's what short run means, is that wages can't adjust. But what about real wages? Again, real equals nominal minus inflation. Nominal wages stayed the same. In this case, price level went down, so your real wages would increase, right? Some students get confused about real wages. The easiest way to think about it is what's going to happen to your ability to buy things, your purchasing power. In this case, it's going to go up. Price level decreased, right? And you're getting paid the same amount. That's going to be good for you, right? Real wages will increase. And then, again, now what if it says blah, 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 what happens in the long run? You would do this short run change and you would label your graph and all that, obviously, but you would have to know to change aggregate supply, right? It's not going to hint towards it or anything. It's not going to give you an aggregate supply shifter. You have to know that in the long run, eventually, if we go into a recession, right, people are going to begin to take pay cuts. They're going to take a reduction in their wages, which is going to be an increase in aggregate supply because that's a decrease in the cost of production. Label your graph, and then from long run, right, you're going to go from A to C, from the beginning all the way to the end. We're not concerned about what happens in the short run. We're concerned about what happens in the long run. So from A to C, price level goes down, output stays the same, unemployment stays the same, right, because we're operating at that NRU at 5% unemployment, and real wages would stay the same. Why is that? Well, price level went down, but nominal wages also went down. And we're going to assume that they matched one another. 50% decrease in price, 50% decrease in wages is the idea. Okay? I'm going to do these a lot more quick, all right? So a lot quicker here. So again, so this one says, what happens, right? We're at long run equilibrium, so I drew the ADS model at long run equilibrium, and I gave you guys a demand shifter. It says the euro appreciates relative to the US dollar. On your problems today, I gave you a currency shifter, right? An aggregate demand shifter. Just think about, where's the best place to buy a good, right? Where's the best place to buy a good? Well, not in this case, where's the best place to buy a good? Like, if Europeans have a stronger currency relative to Americans, are they going to want to buy more or less of our goods, right? They're going to want to buy more of our goods if their currency is stronger, right? It takes less euros to get the same amount of dollars. They're going to demand more U.S. goods. But again, you can think about it from the American perspective. If the euro appreciates and to the dollar, right, as an American, I'm not going to go to Europe. I'm not going to buy European goods because now my dollar isn't as strong compared to the euro. My purchasing power would be less if I was to travel to Europe or buy, European goods. I'm going to demand less European goods, and I'm going to demand more U.S. goods, right? Regardless, Americans are going to want to buy more American goods, and foreigners are going to want to buy more American goods. Aggregate demand is going to increase. So again, you just read your graph, right? Price level goes up, output goes up. Since output goes up, unemployment has to go down. Since unemployment goes down, incomes have to go up. And then real wages would go down because price level goes up, and your wages are sticky. They don't change in the short run. So your ability to buy things, getting the same paycheck from here to here, now prices have gone up, you're going to be able to buy less things. You're not going to be able to buy as many things as you once could. And then what happens in the long run, right? You have to know that eventually aggregate supply is going to decrease. And the reason is workers are going to ask for higher wages because they've had a decrease in real wages. Right? Price level's gone up, the cost of living's gone up, they're producing more things of value, their real wages have fallen. They're going to want a wage adjustment in the long run once they can, and they're going to ask for higher wages. And when they ask for higher wages, that's going to be an increase in the cost of production. So aggregate supply has to decrease. You're going to label your graph, right? And you're going to go from A to C, right? From the beginning all the way to the end, right? When you do long run. So what happens to price level? Price level is going to go up. Output's going to stay the same, right? Y2 is equal to YFE. Unemployment is going to stay the same. We produce the same amount of output. Unemployment has to be the same. And real wages, again, will be constant in the long run because we had an increase in price level, and at the same time, people had an increase in their wages, right? So we're going to assume those are the same percentage, right? 50% increase in price, 50% increase in nominal wages. Real wages would obviously be the same, all right? Let me show you two last things. It's going to be a lot quicker here. Sometimes, obviously, you have to start in a gap, right? People, you guys know what the gap this gap is? What gap is this, people? What gap is this? Check on learning. Who's going to be the first person? What gap is this? What gap is this? This is recessionary and inflationary. Yes, Kennedy. Recessionary. It's a recessionary gap. How do we know it's a recessionary gap, right? Our current output, YE, is less than our potential GDP, YF. It must mean our unemployment is greater than the NRU. We're not producing where we ought to be producing. We're in a recession. Again, sometimes it's hard to read. A lot of students like to think it's inflationary gap because they like to think that LRAS has moved, right? It's not the case. It's just where are we at relative to where we need to be, right? This would be recessionary, right? So it says, assume the economy is currently operating in a recessionary gap. You'd have to know to draw this, right? And then it says, what happens in the long run? And some students are going to be like, what the heck? Like, you didn't give me an AD shifter. You didn't give me an AS shifter. What do you mean what happens in the long run? If you're in a recessionary gap, you're going to assume that agri supply is eventually going to increase. And the reason that agri supply is going to eventually increase is we're talking long run. We're in a recession, and eventually once enough time goes by, workers are going to ask for a wage decrease, right? They're going to take pay cuts, right? Because we're in a recession. They want to stay employed or get employed. The cost of living has gone down, and the value of what they have been producing now has gone down. They're going to take pay cuts, all right? So that's going to be a decrease in the cost of production. Agri supply is going to take us back to long run. So sometimes they give you that. I'm going to give you guys one of these today, where you're in a recessionary gap, right? You start in a recessionary gap. How do we eventually get back? Agri supply. Agri supply is what long run means. If it says what happens in the long run, you're changing agri supply, because it's the concept of wages will eventually adjust. So in this case, things are going to change in the long run because we started here, right? So we're going to go from A to B. So from A to B, price level went down, output increased. If output increases, unemployment goes down. Real wages will be constant, but nominal wages have changed here. Nominal wages have decreased because we already identified people took a pay cut. So don't be like, oh, long run, nothing ever changes besides price level. That's if we start at long run. We're not always going to start at long run. All right. Sometimes we start in a recessionary gap or inflationary gap, and it doesn't say anything. It just says, okay, well, how are we going to adjust eventually back to long run, right? Well, if it says that, you got to go from your start to your end. In this case, macro measures will change, right? But AS is always what takes you back. Again, this is an inflationary gap, right? It says draw an inflationary gap. You would be expected to draw it like this, right? AD and AS is to the right of LRAS. We're currently producing more than what we ought to be producing, right? So what's eventually going to happen in the long run, and sometimes people, they'll give you an AD shifter and move you farther out here, and then you still take AS to get you back, right? If we're in an inflationary gap, eventually workers are going to demand wages, higher wages, right? And when they get higher wages, that's going to be an increase in the cost of production. That's what decreases agri supply. That's how we get back to long run. That's how we adjust. So from A to B, price level goes up, output goes down, unemployment therefore would have to go up, and then nominal wages went up, right? Because that's why agri supply decreased. That's why it moved to the left. All right? All right, people. All right. Do I want to do economic growth today? Yeah, let's do economic growth today. It'll take like 4 minutes, people. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. That way we can start on the Phillips curve on Monday, like a brand new start. All right. So what we're going to talk about is the one exception. All right. Every time we've changed AD, we've always gone back to LRAS. All right. We've always gone back to LRAS. But there's one thing and one thing only where you're not going to do that. All right. It's this. If interest rates go down, that's going to like sound alarm bells in your mind. You're going to be like, oh no, we're not going to like go back, right? You know that if interest rates decrease, that is an agri demand shifter. At least I hope you understand that, right? That's the one thing that affects investment spending. Businesses' willingness and ability to buy goods is all about interest rates, because businesses typically borrow money, and they borrow money to upgrade their production process to hopefully make more money in the future, right? They take out commercial loans. So if interest rates go down, right, what happens in the short run? Well, in the short run, average demand is going to increase. Again, I hope you guys know that, right? I haven't given you a lot of interest rate questions because like it works differently, but now you know at this point, right? Average demand is going to increase. When the cost of borrowing goes down, businesses are going to take out more loans, and they're going to go buy more things with their loans. They're going to demand to buy more goods. And also, right, consumers are going to be willing to buy more cars and boats and other things that require loans, right? Technically, investment spending and consumer spending would increase, all right, just to be clear. Again, I want you more so focus on businesses. When interest rates go down, businesses are going to take out more loans, they're going to go buy more things, right? Now, this is where it's different, right? Up until this point, every time we've changed AD, what happens in the long run, we always go back. Agri-supply always takes us back. But if interest rates go down, something very special is going to happen, right? Businesses are going to demand to buy more goods because they've now taken out more loans, and they go, they're willing and able to buy more goods. But what kind of goods are they going to get, people? What is the name for the goods that businesses are going to go buy? Can anybody tell me? Interest rates go down, so businesses are like, I want to take out more loans. I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to take out a loan. I'm going to go buy more goods. I'm demanding to buy more goods. But what goods are they getting? Very good, Michael. Aiden, very good. Capital goods. They're going to get capital goods. When businesses invest and they take out loans and they upgrade their production process, they're going to go buy forklifts and machines and shovels and tools, right? Pizza ovens, cash registers, right? Automation, right? Delivery trucks. They're going to go buy capital goods. So we know that if they have more capital goods, what's going to happen to supply in the long run, right? We know that if we have more capital goods, the PPC shifts outwards, right? So what's going to happen is our agri-supply is not going to decrease. We're not going to go back to long run. Once we have capital goods, that's going to be an increase in technology. Remember, the third shifter of agri-supply is technology productivity, right? And very good, Maddie. Increased productivity. That's what's going to happen, right? So this is the only time where you don't take agri-supply back, is when interest rates go down. When interest rates go down, we're going to demand to buy more goods, and once we get those goods, we put those goods to use, our ability to produce will have to increase. And when our ability to produce increases, that's going to change LRAS. Because now, if we have 5% unemployment, we're not going to be producing here any longer. If we have 5% unemployment, we're operating at full employment, we're going to be able to produce more output because we have more tools. We have more machines, right? Any increase in capital goods will shift the PPC outwards. Remember, this curve is the same thing as LRAS. It's our ability to produce if we have full employment, if we're operating at 5% unemployment. This is the only time it ever happens, people, is when interest rates go down. Now, like in the class, right? Technically, right, if education increases, if education, interest rates going down, if we have more people, more population, right? Anything that would allow us to produce more in the long run by operating at that unemployment rate of 5%. That's the idea. So this is what economic growth looks like on the ADS model. Which of the following is true in terms of illustrating economic growth on the ADS model? LRAS moving to the right. If LRAS moves to the right, that's economic growth, because now we're able to produce more in the long run. Okay? If interest rates go down, that's what's going to happen. All right? That's a special thing. All right? So, yeah, that's it, people. All right, let's do it, people. We're going in the haunted house. We're going in the haunted house. Let's do it. 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 Hold on here. Let me get some things set up here. Ooh, it's gonna be spooky. Volume up, people. Volume full blast. All right. Hold on, we gotta get the camera straight. What's going on with the camera now? We're not going in until this camera's good. I gotta get a couple things set up here too. Ooh. Jack, finally he's done teaching. Finally, we can go in the haunted house. All right, camera's back. We're going in, people. All right. You're a clown. Kyle, you're a clown. All right, people, we're going in. We're going in. Let me get some coffee first. We're going into the haunted house. Now, people, if you get scared easily, good. Turn up your volume, all right? Turn up your volume. You guys ready? We all ready? We all here? All right, we're going in, people. We're going in. We're going in. We're going in. Let's go. Oh, what's going on here? People, what are we supposed to do here? You guys gotta help me. What are we supposed to do here? The door's locked. I can't get out of this room. There's a creepy clown right there. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do, people? We gotta get some clues. What do you guys think I should do here? Kind of don't want to go murder the clown. I just want you to know if I get too scared, I may leave. You're not scaring. Pop the balloon, read a book, bash his head in with the lamp. Gee, you guys, why are you so aggressive? Pop the balloon. People, we gotta find some clues. What are some clues? What do you guys want me to search? I can't open the door, it's locked. I already tried. The picture frame on the bookshelf. This thing? Ooh. Ooh. What does that mean, people? Is it a clue? Real economic disasters? What's the clue? What does that mean? What does that mean? Break the wall. What does real economic disasters mean? Red, 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 red. Oh, you guys are good. You guys are good. Red. Pop the red balloons? Alright. I don't know if I can pop them, but there's nothing there. People! Yes! We got it! We got it! We got the key! We're getting out of here! We're getting out of here! Let's go! Get out! Going in! Come on! Come on! Whoa. People, we're like in a dungeon now. Oh no. Oh no. How do we get out of this room? How do we get out of this room? Oh no. People! There's fire on the stairs! Touch the rat? No. The time is 3:55. It's true, what is that supposed to mean? People, I can't get up the stairs, like, it's on fire right now. What am I supposed to do? There's a weird skeleton here. I don't know what's going on here. Whoa! Oh, okay. Alright, the time? What the time? Move the rat. No, not the rat. It's not the rat. Kill the spider. Get it out of here. Just get in the fire. The scream in the background is scary. Is it? Yeah, it's pretty scary. We're in a laboratory. Move the pendulum. Like the grandfather clock? Alright, Sophie. Wow, there's a fire extinguisher. Nice. Alright, how do I turn it on though, people? Move the clock. Yeah, you guys are good. How do I turn it on? What am I? Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Let's go. People, yes. Oh, yes. Come on. Come on. We're going in. Yes, we did it. We did it. All right. Whoa. This one's kind of scary here. Alright, what are we supposed to do here, people? This room is really freaky. I'm not gonna lie. How do we get out of this room? Move the carpet or pictures? You can move the rug. Very good, people. Alright, let's move the pictures. No. Clock, no. Whoa! People, should we go down there? I kinda have to, right? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Hey! Hey! People! It's dark in here. It's dark in here, people. Where's the lights? Where's the lights? No, stop it! Ah! Whew, there we go. Okay. Okay, I got the lights, people. This is our last room. It's our last room. How do we get out of here? Exit. There's a card reader over here. We need to find a key card. We need to find a key card. Where do you guys think the key card's at? Move the dresser. No. Not this thing again. No. It's not the dresser. It's not the dresser, people. I can't open drawers. Under the rat? Ew. Ew, gross, disgusting. No, it's not under the rat. The bed? I can't move the bed. It's like in the floor. The fan? Oops. Fan. No. Under the bed? Have a good night's sleep on the bed. The pillow! Ah, I found the key card! Get it in, let's go! We made it out, people! We made it out! We did it! Not the bug noises. We did it, people! We conquered the haunted house. We did it. We made it out. It wasn't that scary, people. It wasn't that scary. We made it out. Good job. GG's in the chat, people. GG's in the chat. Let's see it. But all right, people. I'm gonna go on Google Meet. I'm gonna get some coffee. I gotta like lower my heart rate down a little bit, and then we'll work on promise at 3.5. I'll see you guys in a bit.